What's up? Welcome back at the Artist Coaching Podcast with the guests or co-hosts, Jay Hardway.
What's up?
Guests. Come
Guests,
on,
yeah,
man.
I love how
wrong
Joey's
word.
speaking normally, and then as soon as he hits record, it's like,
Yeah.
"Hello, I'm
No, he didn't
JoeySuki."
even say
Mask
hello. He
on.
said, yo,
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 Yo
yo,
yo
yo.
yo yo.
podcast speaking voice.
Yeah.
How to say you're old
Activate,
without
activate,
saying you're old.
activate
Yo,
podcast
yo.
Yo
speaking
yo.
voice. Yeah. Anyway, guys, how are you?
Good.
It's been a week, right?
2 weeks.
Yeah.
We weren't here last week.
Yes, last week I had an episode with Mr. Josh. Have
Cool.
you did you take the time to listen back to it? Probably not.
First part, and then I switch back to my golf podcast.
Yeah.
No, it was fun. I think Josh has a real good podcast voice. So it was actually quite interesting hearing about his tour and how he set that up himself. Pretty impressive. So yeah,
Okay,
cool.
okay.
But I didn't
That's
manage to
interesting.
listen
I,
the whole
I
episode.
didn't listen, but I know his voice from his socials, and he has a really cool dialect pronunciation, and it sounds like an official person. And when I hear us back, we're like three
Yeah.
retards.
Yeah,
It's
especially
the
you say when I
English.
hear us back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
Or
English
you hear yo yo.
vocabulary. Yo yo. Anyway, what's up? Welcome back, Gerard Francis, Melodramatics, Kane Scott, Israel Carter, Bit3. Welcome everybody. Welcome back at the weekly episode. Hope you guys doing well. Foster
Oh,
and Gallardo checking in. Jay, how was your tour?
Good, tiring. It's I just.
Oh, was it
Ju-
tiring?
again. Yes. He played golf.
well, it
I
was
would be
fun.
tired as well.
But just saying, I just got I'm just over my jet lag now because I went from Amsterdam to Vancouver and then to China. So my body was like really like, what year is it and what
That's
time?
like +6 and then back like
Six
-12.
again, 9.
Minus
Yeah,
nine and
that's
then +7, I think.
the way that sounded. It was like that was my whole week. Like, what time is it? What year is it?
Yeah.
Um, but it was fun. And yeah, and I'm happy to be back in the studio.
Where did you play?
Um, in Vancouver, in Aram Event Center, and in China, in Sichuanbana. And it was a festival which they held there for the first time. And yeah, it was good. It wasn't super full. They said they expected 15,000, but I think we looked more at like 5,000 or something.
Hmm.
But we had a live stream that went nationwide in China and did really well. And the production was really good. So that's always a pleasure to play with, like, all the flames and all the fireworks and all the sound being really good and the crew being really lovely. So um, yeah, you just feel still very lucky to be getting paid and to do that. I always remind myself of, hey, as a kid you dreamed about that, and now it's like still reality. It's sometimes crazy.
Hmm.
So we can listen back to the set somewhere.
Well, it was live streamed, and I'm not sure if we get the
Mm.
recordings or that they're gonna re broadcast it. But I'll keep you updated for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking at 1001. It's not on there.
And I
Actually,
was
your
only in
latest live
China last
set, maybe. You
was
don't
in
do that
Vietnam.
many, Che.
Well, it's I play shows which aren't live streamed, so I don't play the big stages on Tomorrowland and stuff.
Jay
No, no,
only
but
does
you never
pre-recorded
record
sets.
yourself.
No,
Huh.
not really. Maybe I should.
You could. I think it's,
What do you
yeah.
mean with record yourself? Like record every set?
We recently did our set at blah 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 Academy LA.
Mm-hmm.
Then we record it with a camera team and post it online.
Oh, I saw that.
Nice.
Was that you? It's not the club itself
No, no,
who.
no. We have a team there that can record really well.
Oh, I was actually looking at that video, and I was thinking like, is this something the club does every week, or how does that work? But
No,
it's
no, no, no.
okay. And then you just asked for the rights to upload it, or
Yeah, with from the club or the
yeah,
tracks we
from
play.
yeah, from the club.
Yeah, well, they're fine with it. We also uploaded a Nebula set and recorded one recently. We do that every now and then. Sometimes it's the one time the recording actually went a little bit wrong. So that's a shame. But I think for an artist, if somebody wants to book you or wants to see you and experience what you do, posting a live set. So I
Mm.
was actually curious about what Jay was playing now. So I thought to myself, hey, it would be cool. Whenever I go to the gym, I listen to a set from somebody so I can get to know the artist properly. But yeah, if it's been a while, then it's hard to say what a person plays.
Have you
I
ever
think
Yeah.
it's
invested
you
into?
should.
Have you
Sorry?
ever invested into that Jopke, something like that?
No.
I-
Um,
Is it a big investment? Because you do have to hire like camera people, and I can
yeah,
imagine
I
it's
think
pretty.
big investment like goes towards how big is your budget. So like if it's half your fee, it's bigger an investment than when it's one third, let's say. But I think it's a smart thing to do for sure. But you also need the right shows. So you need the shows where like Academy LA is one where it's a great club. And yeah, you can kind of see beforehand, are we expecting a good crowd or like is it going to be nice and full?
But
Then
there
it's
is also a lot of people that threw their own parties. Nicolas Julian is
Yeah,
quite famous for it, and
it's quite a trend, right? Like all those living room
yeah, I
parties
also
and
saw Lucas and Steve do it in a hotel room. That was not for me to say, but how Nicolas Julian did it in the past was really cool and inspiring. Also impressive.
I actually follow an account. I think it's called Apartment Sessions or something, and they host these parties in their apartment, and everybody's dressed in white, and it's pretty fun to see. But it's yeah,
It
it
more
seems to
sounds
be
like some sex thing, or
no. It's really like
uh,
I guess they upload weekly, and you also have. Do
also
you know that?
dress in white, dude.
there's a
That's
lot of
such a
those
boomer thing.
but
Do you know the elevator? I think it's called elevator sessions or something. Last week I saw what's the guy from Ron Carroll from Nike. I'm walking on the streets to buy a
Yeah, we
Nike
know
song.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, he was playing in one of those
Now I
elevator
see all
sessions.
everybody in the bathroom one. I see a lot play in the kitchen.
yeah, those
And
house parties
lately I'm
are
seeing Radio Rudina or something swing by. And
Hmm.
those house parties sets are pretty popular now. There like there's a lot of those. But I like what Bassjackers does because that's an actual
Yeah,
club, and that's a whole different vibe than a house party.
it's actual
Um,
representation of
yeah, but what
what it's
Nicolas
like.
Julian
yeah,
does also is like in a club properly, and I think he always does it. He's from Berlin or something,
nice.
Hmm.
and it looks really cool.
And how
It's
big is
impressive.
the investment, Ralph? Can you talk a bit about that?
Um, $1,500. I don't know.
So it's like a couple of camera people and the editing you do yourself probably.
Well, they set up cams all around, and then you have one moving cam.
Okay,
You have
so a
one
couple of steady
before
cams.
you, one in the back of the room, and actually, Epic Park we also recorded. I don't
Hmm.
Fifteen
think we
hundred is quite
posted it.
cheap.
Sorry,
1500 is quite cheap because how
Yeah, but
big
if
was the crew?
if you have like
one or
cams,
two persons.
yeah, exactly. If you have like steady cams on fixed places and just one
Yeah, you're not gonna
person.
have a team of five moving
No, but
cameras.
like I
That's
think if you
useless.
have two people and then like three cameras, that then 1500
Hmm.
is they didn't
For a
make a
night's
profit. I
work.
think
No,
they
I
didn't
think
make a
that
profit. I think the camera guys.
Yeah, they do. I mean, if they do it quite often,
seven
yeah.
fifty a night. That's quite decent income, right?
Yeah, well, you have to invest in the cameras also. They're pretty expensive, but I mean, yeah, cameras are also that's deflationary stuff, right? You can shoot quite really proper stuff with less equipment than you used to. You
True.
used to have everybody had this red camera, which cost
Yeah.
approximately 50,000 euros.
Yeah.
Man, that was
Somebody
insane.
somebody last week showed me the GoPro, and you can actually live stream from the GoPro these days. Like it's
Mm.
just built in. You can just
Everywhere where we play, we always put a GoPro in front of the mixer or a little bit on the side, so you always have that front angle. You can
yeah.
always switch. So if you then have either a moving cam or somebody shooting, or you place
Right.
one still cam from
Mm,
the crowd angle. I mean,
It was.
you don't the investments don't have to be big to get
I think.
proper footage.
I think Josh
yeah, true.
mentioned that in the podcast where the track that went viral, the TikTok on which his track went viral, the guy also was just playing in the club and he had two angles, which made it
Yeah, maybe
seem
do three angles. Yeah.
way more engaging, way more like, whoa, this is like a cool
Yeah, but
set.
sometimes just the one angle. I mean, it's all also a little bit of feeling thing. You cannot really like analyze it
But the
properly.
Go
It's just
the
yeah.
the GoPro, that's actually a good tip I'm gonna use as well. Like if I have a GoPro set up and then I have a tour manager who films, you can
Yeah, you
also
can
connect
combine.
those two
Mm,
footages, which makes it instantly, even if you do make a very simple edit,
Yeah.
makes it instantly seem way more
Yeah.
professional and cool.
Especially if you have moving images. If you have
Yeah,
like
yeah,
moving video, that's even
for
better. Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
no,
But
but
that's
look
we're
here,
now
we
up to
were.
GoPro 30 or something, or like
I
how?
was talking. I was
eh,
talking to that person
this
who
is the
showed me.
GoPro on a yeah, how you call it, statif on a
GoPro
thing.
on a
We were
stick.
On a
on a
stick.
stick. We were trying it out in our studio, and look, if you have it on the stick behind you,
That's
that actually
perfect.
Ah,
looks
yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
So
I wa-
yeah, I mean, not doing stuff for socials actually a choice.
Mhm. You hear that, Jobke?
Definitely, but it's a conscious choice. And if you see the festival, I'm happy I didn't hire anyone.
Was it not
Um,
not crowded enough?
well, if you have 15,000 capacity and there's 5,000 people, it just
It's empty.
it looks
Yeah.
empty. So yeah,
I was talking to I think it was Josh as well. Like when you tour, that people seem to forget that not all gigs are sold out, or that things can kind of
Mm.
be a bummer. You know, like you can fly to the other
mm.
side of the world and end up playing for 100 people. Um, have you ever dealt with something extreme like that? Like, I mean, 5,000 is still a lot, right? So what about
We
an empty
came into
club?
clubs and there was no one
Vancouver,
here in
Yeah.
Holland even. Yeah.
Vancouver was really quiet. So that was a it's many factors which that can cause that, but there's like max 100 people, and that room easily fits like 1,000 to 1,500.
Mm,
So that was one of those cases where, yeah, you feel like you feel bad for the promoter, you feel bad for the crowd because it's a different experience, and then you just try to make the best of it. I do think the best part about it was that I could give the whole crowd shots because like that couldn't come out of my rider, and then the club also doesn't mind because it's not 1,000 people, it's
So
like,
what did you do? Did you just took a bottle and started pouring
yeah, I
drinks,
told
or?
the people who were the staff there, I was like, hey, can we give everybody in the crowd shots? I'm gonna have a shot with them and then just announce. But it's like so yeah, it feels way more cozy than in that big room. It's just it's a bit awkward, but it's always like you're gonna have those nights.
Yeah.
um and I think, yeah, it's also humbling in a way, you know. But I've dealt with it many times, so it's I just try to enjoy it anyways.
Yeah, but I think it's good to realize for aspiring artists that once you kind of start to tour, that doesn't automatically mean that you're only going to play for sold out venues. You
Mm.
know,
Yeah.
it's there's definitely still a lot of places where it's not sold out. I recall playing in Texas. It was part of my US tour, and they booked. I think it was a Wednesday evening, like a midweek evening, and it was in this bar. And I came in, I was like, "Is this where I'm going to play?" Though, like if you think about a Texas bar, Like if I think about it, it exactly looked like that. Like a lot of wood, like people sitting on the bar, like the local drunk guy. And then there was this DJ booth that looked pretty suck. It's yeah, I don't know, like, and there was no one there, you know. And then you have to play in middle of Texas, and that was a realization moment for me. Like, what am I doing here? You know, like I'm in the middle of the U.S. playing. Like, it really kind of fucked with my
Yeah,
mind,
but
to be
in
honest.
those days, the world was just the world gone mad. I mean,
Yeah,
how
that's
could we
2014.
expect with 30,000 Facebook likes to fly across the world and then have full rooms
Yeah,
in the middle of not the big markets? That's just
no,
impossible. It was just craziness. We actually also played a
yeah,
lot of empty shows back then, and I don't know what happened. It was like
It's
this
I think
craze, and everybody just wanted to book, preferably a Dutch DJ, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I
didn't
think the
even
nights
matter. Yeah.
I think the nights that were good were in clubs where you're always gonna have a crowd, and then you would have a more crowd because you have a name. I think that's the nights where, for me, it always really worked. So if you look at, I think Epic in Prague is a good example of that club. There's gonna be people there, so it's like there's always every week gonna be people there. But if you do really well and if your name is popular, there's gonna be more people there, and the tables are gonna be sold.
Mm.
So those are the nights where you have, as a, well, maybe beginning DJ or as a name, the biggest chance of success. I think the most difficult is in a venue where, and I've had this before as well, where normally there wouldn't be a concert every week, or like a concert or a DJ, but not, it's not like a club where people always go. And then it's also the thing. This is also a responsibility for the agency and for you as an
For the
artist to make
promoter.
choices whether to do promoters, whether to do shows or not. Because I remember once I played in this really popular venue in Dallas, or no, in Houston, Stereo Live. There's also one in Dallas, and it holds like, I think, around 1,000 people. And I was playing there on a Thursday, a headline show on a Thursday, and that should be clear. Like, with my name, that wasn't a good choice. There were like 300 people, which I'm really proud to sell 300 tickets. For me, that's a lot, but in that venue, it was the wrong choice.
Mm.
And then it kind of is like, yeah, that those choices you have to make as an artist, as a promoter, as an agent, and sometimes you pick the wrong venue, and I think then it's better to do a small venue, maybe not one of those bars, but like an actual club where which hold 200 people, sell out, and then the next time you can do 500 people, and then you build
yeah, yeah,
more and more of a crowd. But that is difficult, I think.
yeah. Yeah, it's true. Um, Something I wanted to mention. I wanted to give an update on the book since I promised to do that weekly.
Yay.
And last week,
Ralph, don't get too excited,
Nah,
man.
I'm
yeah,
just
it's not
fucking
for
with
you.
you.
Last week I forgot to upload it. I did write a part, but I forgot to upload it. So this week there will be almost two new chapters added to the book. If you
Chapter
don't know
names.
what,
The chapter names.
oh, the chapter names. Let me check. The one I started writing today was building systems. Oh no, that was last week. This week was
Remembering what I've done.
no, my brain is foggy.
Brain training.
Discipline over drama. Discipline over drama. But it's work in progress, as in that might change over time, but we'll see. Anyway, I will drop an update on the book later today in the Discord. So if you want to read my next book and want to keep reading it every time I upload a new a new chapter, which is about every week, you can find it in the Discord if you want. And I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but we started the challenge on the 1st of May.
I noticed.
I've seen.
And we started doing that on the 1st of May. So we're 1 week in now. It's the 30-day music challenge, which means artists have to make music for 30 days straight for 30 minutes a day. And I'm very
Ooh.
happy to see how it goes. You know, it's very, there's
Also on
plays
a
in the
Sunday.
every day.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I'm very happy to see that in the Discord there's a lot of active people actually participating in the challenge, motivating each other, uploading results every single day, giving feedback to each other. It's very fun and it's pretty active. So if you're curious and you still want to hop in, even though we've already had one week, you can still go to the Discord and join if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a lot of you who already did, so that's fun to see. Next week we will have a live call in the Discord to discuss the how you say it, the progress so far and the learnings and all that stuff.
Cool, man.
Um, last 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago, or last week, Ralph and I were talking in the chat in the WhatsApp about something that we wanted to talk a little bit deeper about.
Did we
Um,
now?
yeah, we talked about niches. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
I vaguely.
Yeah. So this is what I wrote down. Maybe this rings a bell.
Yeah.
The music industry landscape has changed. Niches matter more than ever. Super
Yeah.
fans matter more than ever, but it's also
Super
hard to
friends?
predict. Yeah, super
Oh,
fans,
super
as in,
fans.
yeah. But it's also hard to predict something. So I recall you saying like it's very unpredictable, the industry at the moment.
Yeah, well, not per se. I also a little bit disagree with the super fans, but niches matter. Yeah, you can see a lot of new styles being coming up, making waves. You can see now they have multiple names for it. I think now one of the hottest is the hard house movement or bouncy techno. I saw that, and with a lot of trancey influence in there. And of course, you can see the harder techno still making waves now, also really crossing over to America, which I never expected. I mean, hardstyle is in America and it's quite big, but never really got a hold of it. And now I see venues also in Asia and in the United States programming hard techno, which I never could imagine. Yeah, so yeah, and in America it's uh, like the house tech house is really big. You have now the melodic techno, you have the Afro house. There's a lot of niches now, and I think they matter more than ever.
I just looked back what it was about, and it was about like the disconnect between support and radio support, for example. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
how do you measure popularity? That was kind of the deal that we were talking
Yeah,
about.
that's hard to measure actually. I mean,
Yeah.
getting a lot of streams on Spotify doesn't matter so much all the time. If I see a lot of uh, touring acts which tour quite a lot and playing big venues, they're not per se the ones that also get a lot of streams. Yeah, that makes it a little bit more unpredictable. Like, what's popularity? I mean, you can also measure it by the amounts of followers or response they get on the socials, Instagram and TikTok, but that also doesn't say the whole story.
Mm,
And I think that really changed. Beatport got a little bit more important than it used to be for the last years. 10 years ago, it was like also the go-to thing to see how
yeah.
popular certain artists were. And yeah, it's hard to track. It's not so transparent anymore how to track how popular a certain artist is.
Yeah, and I think that's what we were discussing, as in it seems to be that super fans have become a very big part of that deal, and the example I gave was Taylor Swift, as in the article I read was about the fact that the streaming numbers from a certain album can be insanely high. So in Taylor Swift, that's the case. You know, all those tracks from her album have been streamed insanely in insane amounts of time. But if you would ask a regular person if you would know that song, that's not the case, because those numbers come from a small group of people who've
Yeah.
streamed it 80
Yeah.
times. And that's kind of why those numbers could be off, right? Like they could be insanely
Yeah, but
high.
that's the popular music scene, and to be honest, that's
Yeah,
not the
that's pop.
dance scene, and there's such a big disconnect in between there. I think we move in a different world. Um, but let's take more popular artists that tour a lot. Just mention one, a Dutch girl called Kiki, won an Edison.
Hmm.
I think her highest stream number is around 6 or 7 millions. Maybe I'm now really off. I need to check it. But she tours a lot and draws in a big, big crowd. She's one of the more popular rising stars at the moment, and rightfully so, because I also think she's really cool. And now I'm checking the number. Her biggest streaming hit is 5.7 million. That's not a lot. But
No, it's
if you see the
decent, but
crowd
But
she
but
plays
that's what I.
for and she draws,
But,
man,
but
she's killing it.
but isn't there now a bigger disconnect between like success of songs and success of shows? I think that's like what.
Definitely, I
Yeah.
think also sets what they stand for, what kind of
Yeah.
music they stand for, and that's why we came to the conclusion niches matter more than
yeah,
ever. And yeah, that makes it really interesting. I think there's it gives the opportunity to people to actually really make a difference, uh, not only through music, but the more the complete package
yeah,
they offer
brand
you, a
building the
night
brands.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. By the way, I see. Yeah, it's crazy again. But we have two donations in the chat again from Melodramatic and Jamie Strife. Thank you guys very much for the donations. We appreciate it a lot. And Melodramatic also added on to the topic that we were discussing about, as in, do genres really even matter anymore? Because in niches, I think genres do matter, especially if you're building your career. You want to be consistent with one genre, right? And especially in a certain niche that you're being part of.
yeah.
Like with
Well,
Kiki,
the
for
boxing
example.
itself doesn't matter, but also I'm the same. When I hear something and I like it, I want to hear something like that, but more and a little bit
Mm,
more different. But man, it doesn't have to be like a genre per se. It's also a bit of a feeling you have with something, because you can have a discussion about no, this is techno, no, this is hardcore, no, this is hard house, this is tech house, and it's not a properly defined area all the time.
mm,
Um, but yeah, I do think it's important as an artist. I mean, there's always different ways to do it, but to give clarity about what you stand for, and I think that's something people really
yeah,
are attracted to nowadays.
Yeah, and I
yeah,
think that comes from the consistency. And I think if you're too much looking at, oh, how would I name my genre or what kind of sound should I make, that's a bit makes it more difficult. But if you like, hey, this is the stuff I like, and be consistent with that and show towards the outside world, hey, this is it. And then I think you have a chance of becoming a genre, maybe. I mean,
Mm,
that's of course also a big luck involved there, and timing that genre certain pops off maybe.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, but I don't think someone like Kiki was really like, oh, this is gonna be popular, so I'll do that. But she was like, hey, this is the stuff I stand for, and then pushed that
yeah,
and
exactly.
that only, and that
yeah, now we take her as an example, but there's way more,
yeah.
and I think the dance landscape is really interesting right now. And
Because there's so much variety, or
yeah, and the level of tracks actually and the producing is really high.
hmm,
It's really hard what people put out now, and it's really well thought of also, and melody wise, and just arrangement wise, technical. I think this is the most competitive landscape ever.
I want to elaborate on those releases. I have a clip of the week right here. Just
Clip
gonna,
of the week. Dun-dun-dun.
yeah. Somebody still needs to make that jingle. Can you see the screen? Yeah, right. Lower
Yep.
your volume.
Now you
Oh,
lower the volume.
One from Virgin Music come on our podcast, and they told us a stat that was uh, the average amount of songs released before an artist breaks was 32. And I was mind blown by that. That is such a huge amount of music.
Mm.
And I would say most people watching this have not released 32 songs. We
So she says, oh, that an average amount of releases that an artist had before he or she broke through was 32 releases. She thought it was an insane amount of songs. To me, I thought it was like,
No,
it's
it's a
not that
lot.
much.
It's a
You
lot.
yeah? Do
Yeah,
you think
I
that's a
think
lot?
in my career I've released like 70s what somewhat songs.
How much?
Is this
70.
again in which context? Is this going
Yeah,
about
it
pop
was
songs
a
or?
person from Virgin Records, not her, but she had a guest in their podcast or something. And that person of Virgin Records said that on average, an artist releases like 32 songs before they break through, on average. Do you think that's a
Yeah, but
lot?
maybe that average is accounted by like almost nobody breaking through. They release 100 songs, and the ones who break through, they release
Yeah,
four.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Well, I
stupid
think it's about
metric,
the
and it's
breakthrough
also a
artist.
stupid Virgin Records. I don't care, man.
It's one of those stats that's like kind of useless because it doesn't mean that, oh, if I just make 32 songs I'll I'll make
No,
it, but it can give like people that are like, hey, I released 10 songs, I've been doing this for 2 years, can give them a bit of like, oh wait, I'm not even there yet, so
yeah.
just
But
could
there
give
were
some
also
confidence.
people in the comments who said like, "Here I am, 200 songs later, still still
Yeah,
nowhere." You know,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
again, that I think that comes back to the fact what we were talking about before, as in it's not just about the music anymore; it's the full package. It's the content, it's the branding, it's the person itself, it's the
And
music,
also,
it's
don't forget, it's also about the X factor, and that's just
the
undefinable.
X
I mean,
yeah,
factor.
yeah, yeah,
yeah, but it
yeah, yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
For
No,
sure.
but I
Agree.
like because
but
I think the X Factor is like how many years old? I'm not sure if
I
people
think as
still.
a
No, no, but
if
the X
you
Factor, I mean, that show was named the X Factor because the X Factor was already a thing.
Yeah,
and
But it is because you
just think
just
about
oh,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
sorry. No, you can
No, go
go.
ahead, go ahead.
No, no,
Oh.
age before beauty.
No, I was just going on to the next thing. So
Oh,
oh yeah,
no.
go.
What was I saying? No, it just, I mean, take two people, they do everything the same, and with the one it gets traction, and with the other one not. It's just undefinable sometimes.
yeah,
Not per se about the action. It's just always increasement of chance of luck, actually, or coincidence.
and you have to realize how hard it is to get people to your shows. Sometimes trying to get a friend out the door is the hardest thing ever. You have to call them weekly and like, let's go have a drink, let's go have a drink. Imagine that you're an artist, and even if there's only one person at your show, that person got dressed, did their hair, took a taxi,
Had
spent money
options.
for you to be there. That is like, it's so hard
They
Yeah,
to
put
do
on
that.
pants
They put on
or
pants,
skirt,
one leg at a time, like
yeah,
all of
man,
us.
socks.
But like that's something you have to realize as well. It's just not at all easy to get someone to come check out your show. That's like if you can draw people in, even if it's 100, that's huge. That's
yeah,
like, yeah,
exactly. That's definitely one of the things I started appreciating more and more over time. As in the more the depth of it in over the width of it, as in the fact that you can get people to come visit you, to pay tickets, to yeah, it's quite a hassle to get people so far to do those things. You really have to build a connection with someone to be able to get people that far.
to go deep and not wide.
Yeah, but
Are we
I'm a
back
big
on
fan.
OnlyFans?
Yeah.
Let's do some community questions, guys, because
Uh,
it's getting out of hand.
yep, there we go.
Community questions.
As always, we take on community questions from the Discord, where people can drop questions throughout the week, which we take on in the episode and an answer for you in this live stream. Here's a question from Midnight Search. Do you create different masters for different purposes? Like -14 loves for streaming and -7 loves for Beatport live play? Or one single master at the maximum loudness possible? And if so, when a streaming platform turns it down, does it sound bad as compared with the original? Technical one.
Sorry, if they turn it down.
Yeah, they seem to lower certain tracks, right? If it's too loud.
Oh no, they don't compress anymore. I think doesn't sound like that. No,
Not
I
sure.
always have one master, and it's completely as loud as possible.
It's
Make
like a
big
sausage.
ass sausages.
Same. Just one master, and I haven't heard a real difference. Um, yeah, on
On
Spotify or
Spotify.
anything. Yeah,
No,
Okay.
only when your track goes to radio, they have a big compression on it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I always loved hearing my songs on radio. I just like the compression of it. Like it sounds recognizable or like comforting in some kind of way. Don't you have that?
Well, then your master wasn't finished, man. You should have put that
No,
on your master.
yeah,
No, because that made it sound terrible on the clubs. But overall, like the radio mastering, just it sounds comforting in some kind of way because you're so used to it, or at least we were used to it. Because I'm not sure if many people still listen to radio that much, but
A
not
lot of
a
people
lot of
in the
our
car.
tracks actually got to the radio, but the ones we aimed for, and we always they were like really dry, like almost no reverbs and shit, because it gets so compressed
yeah, like
that if you
woof.
have a little, yeah, if
Yeah,
you have a little reverb or echo in there, it will sound
yeah, true.
like a harsh one.
But
But
I also
yeah,
really liked like if you did a live set on like Slam FM or something, like the live set always sounded so comforting. I don't know. The compression of a radio is just very nice to me personally.
especially for a voice,
True.
then
For
you
voice, it's
sound
Yeah.
really
amazing, man.
low and
And they
Everybody
have
really.
like
sounds great.
immense like good system, good compressors and stuff, like all
Yeah.
analog.
True.
No, but
Next.
yeah, I wouldn't know why you would like do different masters except for that purpose.
Yeah, I've heard
But I
that
mean, it's dance
from a
music and it needs to be in your face.
yeah, but I've heard
Goes in
this from
here.
a mastering engineer as well a couple of years ago that you should deliver separate masters for separate streaming
As
services
soon as the
because
master engineer starts, you
Yeah,
shoot.
talking. Yeah,
just
No, if they
just
say
walk
you
away.
shoot, man, stop listening. Stop listening, man. No, you should. I'm paying you, mother. Um, I can see if you're like your track is synced for a movie or commercial or uh, yeah, if it becomes on radio, it can be, but I don't think for dance music it's that important.
Okay. Next question from Formula C. Last week I asked a question about releasing music and you told to just start releasing, like your trash can be another one's treasure. And that got me quite excited. I'm also following a producer course and the artist teaching said to complete opposite, the complete opposite. First, get your tracks to an industry standard before releasing, sending to labels. Because if your quality is not good enough, you will always have -1 point, but think that is questionable. It makes me really confused and also insecure in a way. What are your thoughts about what that artist told me? And do you have tips in what I can do to make the decision that's right for me instead of needing other people to tell me what to do is
How
best?
much are you paying him? I may be willing to do it for half the price. First of all, um, no, I get what he says with like if you send a track to a label, it. I mean, if I think that doesn't happen if it's one bad track, but if you do it over and over again, and the A&R there probably won't open your emails anymore because they see like, oh, that's that guy again, or but then again they get so many songs, so that's not really something to worry about. um, but get your tracks to an industry standard. Like that's like okay, but what is then industry standard?
Exactly, that's the
That's
problem.
very difficult. But just yeah, man, start releasing on SoundCloud. Get a couple of opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to really get. Also, in the beginning, I don't know how far you are in your career. You have to get through this phase of like um, where you can tell if it sounds good. Because if you're just starting out, everything's gonna sound amazing, and you don't really know why people think your track sounds shitty. But then there's after a while you start to learn what actually sounds good, and it comes from comparing to other tracks and just experience overall.
You know,
Um,
I think what's very important in this question, because this is something most starting artists get stuck on, is
Can you hear me? Oh.
the perfectionism loop. As in, the tricky thing about what that person said, exactly what Jay said with the industry standard thing. First, what is an industry standard? Because that's still personal, you know. I've heard hits that sounded very shitty and still became hits. So what is an industry standard?
Thanks.
And at some point you need to get feedback from other people as well to learn what's great or what isn't. And most of the time what happens is that artists underestimate their own skills. They think their songs are shit, they think their songs are not good enough until they start releasing it, and then they actually find out that people don't think that
and
about
they
their songs.
underestimate the people around them, and like you're
Sometimes
only
they
looking.
also really, really overestimate
You have the
their own
wrong
tracks.
mic, Ralph. The
Yeah,
mic,
the mic is
you have to
very
Yeah,
low.
change.
it fell out. Can I change it back or have to go in and out again?
I think you have to go in and out.
But
Stupid
I
program.
think like um in your question, I feel there's too much weight on like labels and what they think, because in the end, you want a label to sign you, but the real people you want to enjoy your track is the crowd. So I think you should have people around you that are honest, people on forums that are honest that you can send your track to, producers like yourself. That can also help you give an image of like, because that's how I did it as well. I just was making music and I wasn't releasing it because you couldn't really self-release back then. But I was uploading it to SoundCloud and sending it to forums, and then people don't reply because they think probably it's shit. But then I had this one track which I uploaded to the Vato Gonzalez forum, and the reactions were there, and I could just kind of feel like, hey, this sounds good, that better than the other stuff I did. It sounds a bit better than the rest of the stuff that's being uploaded on the label. The reactions were there, so you get more of that skill of recognizing that, but also that confidence. And that's because of people who are on a forum, other producers. It's not because of some label. And it took me years after that before any label showed any interest. So I think don't put as much weight on labels need to like it, but get people around you to like it and people that follow you on SoundCloud. And it can be like insignificant people, you think, but
Yeah,
they might have the biggest influence on your
yeah.
creative
You
Get
journey.
know,
real feedback.
both visions aren't wrong or right, to be honest. And that treasure thing you said, Joey, can be, but chances are slim when nobody says your track is really cool, then it's probably not really cool.
Mm.
And if nobody responds to it, then yeah, what kind of use does the track have?
No, that's
Yes,
true, but you
put it
still
out.
need.
There can be the odd chance that it will happen, but I always say this: if you go out now to the street and you take a carton and you write down on it Tiesto won a collab, and you stand besides the street, there is a chance that he will pass by and does the collab. But the chances are just really slim. And that's also when nobody just reacts. And you send it out to a lot of DJs and labels and I don't know what. And at some point you should get confirmation from a sizable group of people that it
Mm.
is good, or
Yeah.
else it just makes no sense to put
No,
it out.
you're 100. You're 100% right, but
Yeah.
this is about the step before that. As in, with putting out, it's not necessarily putting it on Spotify or putting it out to a label, but it's getting it out of your computer and uploading it to SoundCloud or to a forum or
Oh
to
yeah,
get feedback. You need to let other people listen. Otherwise, you will never get that
definitely.
feedback.
Yeah, but didn't get it from the question, to be honest.
Yeah, last week he asked Josh and me if he, I believe was something about should I release my music or something. And then we said, yes, you should, because your trash can be someone else's treasure. You know, you could think of your
Yeah,
own
but that's
songs as,
releasing the music. Yeah, to be honest,
yeah, but with releasing, I think about like putting it out there, as in, not necessarily on Spotify or something, but putting it out there for people to listen to, so
Okay,
that you
but
can
then we
get a
should specify because I think
yeah,
most people a release is actually just putting it
Yeah,
out all the
yeah, that's
portals
true.
yeah, it's good
and
that you
yeah,
pointed out, Ralph. But I think it's good for people to also know that it's not as big of a deal anymore to really release something. Like putting it on SoundCloud can have just a big impact as well.
definitely. And go to the Discord of artist coaching and just discuss, just post it there and
Yeah,
see if anybody, and if nobody reacts, it's probably not
Yeah,
good enough,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
or they just hate you.
Or it's
And
bad timing and everybody's asleep and they didn't
yeah,
check
that
it.
could also be
So
the case. And actually, that makes me think of the convo we had earlier, Joey, about the support also, because that's the 1001 track list support, and I was looking into certain tracks that were high in those charts, and then I went to look, and nobody played it live. It was all radio support.
yeah, that was it
And,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
so then my conclusion was, okay, that's cool and all, but at no festival people will hear it live.
yeah,
mhm,
And
mhm.
for me, that gave like this wrongly image of a track that supposedly is really cool, and but actually isn't. It's for no DJ cool enough to play live.
yeah. It's a weird
And those were
dynamic.
big names,
But
like really big names.
that's the difficulty of 1001 Tracklist, where they have also the top 101 producers, and I think it's like it's a good overall a good representation of which producers are popular. Look,
What's that?
but yeah, but I think
I
you should
just
be
got this in the mail today. How funny is that?
Oh,
That's what I
amazing,
just went to get.
the
amazing.
So
award.
But
it's a really cool award. Yeah.
it's
Nice.
overall a pretty good representation of who's the most popular producers and who gets the most support. But some of the names in there are there only through a lot of radio support, radio shows by other DJs, and
Yeah.
then it's like, should they be in there? Well,
No, that
difficult.
just counts less. And hey, I'm really happy they do it, and it gives an insight, but it doesn't give the full picture. And
Yeah,
that's when we got to talk about what's popularity nowadays. And actually, I actually don't like this metric at all, because this, and then I went to look further, and I saw all these radio plays that got like 3 radio plays on SoundCloud, actually looked like a bit of a hoax shit. And also numbers pumping was being done there, and that's always a bad
yeah,
thing.
and it's also like people that make the radio shows for big DJs. They are in like certain groups, and then the promo is being sent out, and it's kind of like a handshake deal under the table. We will always
Yeah.
support the tracks you send us over. So there's a lot of that going on. But I think as soon as some list, or we trying to like number the most popular person somewhere, always that stuff is going to be part of it. And
Mm.
it's like, yeah, it's like I still think the top 101 DJ producers is like a pretty representable list, and it makes sense. But some of the names you're just like, well, should he be in there? But I think that's always going to be with
Yeah.
any top 100 or
Any
top
list.
101.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that last week? I can't recall his name. I think it was a rapper from the States, who a big rapper who put out a quote out there that he said that he wanted Spotify to hide the numbers because numbers impact the expectation people have, as in the monthly listeners you have and how much streams a song has. Like he was saying
Was
like,
was he
what's
getting less popular? That person?
no, I,
Because
I don't
that's
think I
then
don't think he
people that
is.
get less popular always start complaining about that
You know
kind of
what would
stuff.
be a good thing? Actually, that would be a good thing, that everybody has to send in their tracks without the names attached. Then the curators would
Yeah, yeah,
really listen to the music. I think we would
Oh
get
wow,
Spotify
wow.
playlists way different then.
yeah. But this is the
Spotify
this is the
this
key.
would be, dude, there should be a law that they have only anonymous. They don't even have titles. They don't even have amazing. That would be
Yeah, but
amazing.
this
Is
was
there
this was
anybody listening who can make apps and help us with this new platform?
but this was this was the fundament of this thing, as in it also happened on social media a few years ago, right? That people said like we need to delete the likes, we need to
Yeah,
delete the statistics, because why do we need those numbers? It's all for ego.
Yeah.
It's not useful at all.
Nah, yeah, well, yeah.
Oh, well, it gives an insight.
It
You
gives
you
yeah,
Yeah.
could
it
get
gives
the
an
you could
insight
get the
into
numbers on the
approximately
back
how
end.
popular you are.
Yeah, but you could use you as an artist. You can see the numbers on the back
Yeah,
end,
but
but
as a
why
promoter,
give
you
them
want
on
to
the
see
front end?
as a promoter, you want to see like, hey, Jay Hardway, I want to see his engagement. It's like interesting because that, of course, it doesn't say
Engagements.
everything about me as an artist, but it kind of says like, oh, you're in that range.
But he
And
can
yes,
still request like your numbers if he wants to book you. You can just
yeah, but
request
it's
yours.
he's like scrolling and he's like, oh, I
Yeah,
need an that
they
then it's
will
already too
do it.
late. They're gonna put time in that? No way. That's like
Yeah.
they just need to. But the flick
They
of a
will
switch,
call up
they
the
need to check it out.
agency. Oh, we're in search of a
Can
DJ.
you send us a
2
fax with
weeks.
all
Yeah,
of
on
his
the internet.
numbers?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, here you go. Oh, what kind of music do they make, by the way?
What's your
Hey,
fax number? We'll send it over.
hey, dude, we just got another donation of $20 from Mr.
Hey!
Melodramatic. He says, "Cheers to a proper AC session with proper valuable takeaways. Coffee on me."
Let's
Thanks,
go,
man.
dude. We can
Bro.
retire, bruh.
We can retire. That's it. That's my pension right
No, but
there.
let's do it like
Nice.
this.
Exactly. I'm not sure if everybody can see this, but I don't know how this
Um,
works.
Also, and I'm saying this as a general thing, if you're ever in a list like a top 100 something most popular DJs or something, and you are not in it anymore, or you go down, don't then complain about um, your negative thoughts on the list.
Complain when you're on top, like
Exactly that.
Tiesto does. I
Exactly that.
actually like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But when we're out, we're gonna complain big time, man.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
We're
Here's
never
a
going
question
out.
from Melodramatic in the Discord. What's your go-to compression tool method?
Depends on what you compress, but I use a lot of ozone. I like ozone.
Ah,
OTT, of course, always good. But that's and even the sound goodizer is like a compression, and sometimes those two I just use to see what happens on leads and all. If you, I use T-Rex also, Classic Clipper. I actually like there. Um, yeah, that just depends, man. Yeah,
I use Sound Goodizer on
Fab
leads
Filter.
a lot. I use from also the Fab filter, like the Pro C, but that's for vocals, or from Waves
mm.
with the L2 limiter. But for the rest, I don't use
Waves.
that much of compression, to be honest. But Sound Goodizer is a good one. I use the what's the Data Life one? That's a nice
Sausage
one.
Fattener.
Sausage Fattener.
Yeah,
By the way, have you guys checked that new plugin from SoundToys, Space Blender?
no.
It's
No.
available for free right now. You can download it on their
Free.
website until the
Okay, bye.
22nd of May.
Oh.
What
I'm
does it
not
do?
sure. Let me see. Space Blender is your portal to a new dimension of space and time effects. It's an experimental reverb that lets you create unreal
Hmm.
and imaginary
Oh, if you could,
spaces.
there's a freeze button. I need it.
Oh, it's available for free. So everybody listening
Freeze,
right now,
guys. I've been searching for a plugin, and there's one in Ableton that does it. The stock plugin. It freezes your plugin, so you can make like the if you have the track B, Steve Angelo.
beep beep
Yeah, but like
beep
the
beep.
you can just have a vocal, put some reverb on it, and freeze that reverb. It's like
Hmm.
I'm
It's
gonna
the
use that.
holy
Yeah,
grail.
you get like a drone. That's nice.
A
I'm
drone.
Drone
gonna
in your
download it.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
they
make
call it a
5 tracks.
drone. If you don't produce anymore, you don't know what a drone is. But you drone, sometimes you want tone in somewhere, so you get the ground tone, and you have drones that just generate noise. Like mostly also granulizers can make that.
Hmm.
Granulizer is like really unpredictable, but then you get this like in the
Okay.
ground tone and gives you tone. Sometimes you want tone in certain parts. I
Okay.
used to do it with the violin all the time with the high
I uh,
violin.
I actually dropped the link in the YouTube chat. I'll also drop it in the Discord for people to
I like producing questions.
studio
I can
talk.
tell.
Free plugin.
But that's because you're a producer.
That's true. We should talk more about producing and less about pop music. I don't want to hear the name Taylor Swift anymore.
We get all the Swifties
Taylor,
behind us.
Taylor.
Swift.
Um,
Question from
there should
wait,
be
well,
more dance music. I agree, though. Like we should be, but there is also not enough juice. There's not enough juice in the
no,
dance
there's not
scene.
enough juice. That's true. There's not enough
There's
juice in the
some
dance
juice,
scene.
but
Oh,
like
what? No, there is
different
juice.
kind of
There is
juice.
juice. There is juice. Martin Garrix seems to be in a relationship with what's her name? Megan. Shit.
Markle.
What? No, the shit. She had a hit.
She had a hit.
Insta. They posted on Instagram. Ah, shit! Somebody,
It's
Maggie
Instagram
Goo, Maggie
official.
Goo, Maggie Goo, Maggie. Was that her?
Oh
Maggie.
no, they
Oh,
posted. They
Peggy
had a post
Goo.
together, dude. They
Yeah,
just
they
posted
just
together. That's not fair.
were yeah seeing each other in Japan, just
It's so
normal.
childish, like to think like,
Man,
oh, they dating.
I think they're dating. It's
No, dude,
juice.
they're
I
just
I
having
call
fun.
juice.
No, they're just having fun.
Maggie Goo, dude, come on, man.
He says Maggie something.
Yeah,
Uh,
I had to think of the
it's
name.
so unfair that you're here talking about music and you're
Peggy.
just mentioning Maggie Goo.
Maggie Boo.
Peggy Goo. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, what sample rate?
Anywho,
No, wait. There was a question from Josh in the Discord. Question for Ralph. Bassjackers TikTok videos are smashing it. Congrats. Do you ever do A/B testing or different text or creators for each video?
sorry, and what? Oh, yeah.
A/B
We
testing.
sometimes now we don't do A and B testing, but we sometimes we remove it and repost it. Yeah, that's kind of the same, but
Okay. Meanwhile, we got another donation from Melodramatic. $50.
dude, stop
Holy
it,
shit.
man.
Too
We're
much,
going
man.
out to dinner.
Hey!
I told him
Hey,
that
and if we let Joey barbecue, we can stick that 50 in our own pockets.
Where's melodramatic from?
where he's from.
Yeah.
He's from the States, from what was it?
Oh.
Where you from, Melodramatic? It was Houston or something? No, Chicago. It was Chicago. Yeah.
Tri-state, Windy City.
Windy City. Yeah. Thanks, man. It's insane. We're gonna have a beer on that. And he says because inflation, that's not enough for beer. So here you guys go and have some beers on me. Thanks, man. We're definitely gonna
Oh,
have a beer.
that's sweet.
Thanks, man.
Thank
There
you for the
was
producing questions.
yeah, he
Somebody
definitely
was
has
asking
produced.
something about a sample rate
Yeah, a question from Veer. What sample rate bit depth do you use and why?
for a master.
I
To
don't
be
know.
honest, sometimes they ask me to hand in a 16-bit or a 24-bit. I actually have no clue what the difference is.
There's
I
more
have
I
no
thought,
clue.
information in a 24-bit than in a
yeah, I thought
16-bit.
there's more
Yeah, but
information, as
what
in more
information
depth.
actually like really sounds the same?
I
I
think if
cannot
you,
hear it.
I think let's say if you would slow it down, there's more chops in between if you like have a
To be
16-bit.
honest,
So like you
I
will
have
hear more
no
like
clue.
like if you slow it down on a CDJ or a, but I'm not even sure.
No,
Maybe that's something totally else. But I always deliver in 24-bit.
me too. But
And then I
I used
ask
to do
for
16.
24
Yeah.
Bitcoin. 24 Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to. I don't understand this question from 20 Fair Carrot. Ralph, my track last time, and for me, it's like a confirmation that it's playable, and I go from there and always try to. Oh, live stream popped out. Wait,
That not good, huh?
No, no.
It's still there. No, it's still
I'm
there.
actually not sure. Is it still there?
Yeah, on YouTube it is, I think.
Oh, my page crashed. I don't know what happened.
Well, I still see everything and I
Oh
hear
yeah.
you and
Okay, perfect. Okay, are there any questions that I missed in the chat? Because we have to round up here.
is two and a
Round
half by 2.5 meters enough for a studio?
Oh yeah, from
Yes,
Brillantin.
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah,
man.
Get
but you
smaller speakers than
but you
it's
do want to avoid squares, as in it's not very great for
dude.
a studio
I
environment.
I should film where I made a lot of my first music. It's literally
Yeah.
like a really small. It's not even a room in my parents' house, and it's like there's this closet on the attic. I could just sit. The chair could just be there, and there was a little desk. it didn't matter, man. That's where I made music.
When I stayed in
And
Spain for a few months, I worked from a bathroom. Yeah. And
On
if you
your
just put
headphones.
yeah, mostly, but also with speakers. And if you just point them at your ears and loud enough, then you won't hear the room.
Loud enough.
But no, every room just goes, and it doesn't matter. Get to know your room, and if you're gonna hang out some acoustic stuff, just hang it out that it looks nice, and make sure that it's enough. And when you
It
click with
looks
your
nice.
fingers and you hear krong krong krang, then it's not okay.
Just hang it like it looks nice.
Yeah,
yeah,
but it
but
is
you
because you're
don't
gonna
need to
make
be
a photo
technical.
of
Is what
it.
you
Yeah,
mean? Yeah, you don't need to be too technical. If you buy some of those, like I have here,
yeah.
those, that's more than enough.
Hey, we used
Um,
to be with a mirror and then the angle,
Oh
but
yeah.
I noticed like, man, I'm just yeah
Yeah.
doing
Who am I
shit. I
kidding?
don't know.
every
Yeah, who
room
am
is
I
gonna have
kidding?
its flaws, and you need to get used to it anyways.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
true. Okay. Are there any shills you guys have for this week?
Yeah, I think I do. I do
Okay.
do. There's a lot of us of our tracks coming out now. We're doing one almost every 3 weeks, sometimes even two.
wow.
Putting out shit on SoundCloud. I would just say follow us on Spotify, on SoundCloud. We're always the handle at Bassjackers, and you won't be disappointed. It's a nice and easy chill.
Okay. That's an easy one. What about you, Jay?
My latest track, Chopsticks, is doing pretty good. It's out already on every platform. Yeah, go and check that out. My golf handicap is now 25.2,
Hmm.
steady going down. It's still too high, but we'll see.
Okay. And for me, to everyone who still wants to join the challenge, the 30-day music challenge, where we make 30 minutes of music every day for 30 days straight, you can still join in the Discord if you want. You can just skip the first week and build for the other 3 weeks.
A 24-day
Yeah,
music
exactly.
challenge.
Exactly. You can join in
It's
the
the whole
Discord
month
if
of
you
May.
want. Sorry?
Is it the whole month of May?
Yeah, until the 30th. 30th.
30th.
30th.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, I will not be here next week. I have to drive my
What?
parents to the airport. Just remembered. Maybe
Dude.
I'll be back in
Have
time.
they heard of a taxi?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's wrong with an Uber?
we can't afford it, man. We're a
Ah, yeah,
humble
okay.
people.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Humble
Well, no, I
servant.
have to bring them around 1, so I might be that I.
Eindhoven.
No, yeah, I'm not gonna be back at 2. So
No, okay, we have to see. Otherwise, we'll do one together, and otherwise, we'll invite someone for
yeah, or
next
I'll
week.
just come in later.
That's also possible,
We
yeah.
do have to do a real one again soon.
True. Studio is waiting for us. The microphone plop caps are waiting for you guys.
Popping caps.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
the
I
plopping
need to
caps.
pop up.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, that's the show from my end, and thanks for everyone listening. Thanks for the
Dude, we
crazy
just got another
donations.
huge donation.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude, we have another. The music channel just donated 55 euros. I like to add appeltaart to the coffee. If I add reverb to the elements, the reverb tends to crowd out the other elements. Therefore, I intend to avoid reverbs in the drop. Oh, this is a question. How do you manage reverbs when you have many elements in a drop?
My mind is still at the apple tart. I'm like,
Yeah, exactly.
apple tart.
How do you manage reverbs when you have many elements in a drop? Let's answer this one and then we'll close it off.
Have your reverb on a separate channel. So if you have a lead synth, have the reverb on a separate channel. This way you can EQ just the reverb. I think Ralph probably knows more technical stuff, but that's one of the tricks I use. And
No, I
maybe
always,
sidechaining the
to be honest,
reverb.
I would
On the...
always bus reverb, and it just gives you so much freedom. You can then do whatever you like with it. Of course, give it some sidechain on the drop. Yeah, you always want to create a little bit of air everywhere for your kick. Protect those transients, I always say. And yeah, you can use the shaper box. It's really cool. You can draw in, you can filter shit there on
Yeah, you should
like a
experiment a
beat.
lot because I think
Yeah.
sometimes you also can sidechain well to the kick, but also to the lead itself. So it's like dry when you hit the note, and then as soon as you let go, it like
That's what the Cashmere reverb that makes it duck when the note is played.
Hmm.
And but also reverb always gives a little bit of warmth. I mean, especially when you're making big room, for instance, which is always a little bit empty. Then the reverb is an element on itself, so it kind of depends on what you do. But when you bus it, you can just make it the way you want. You can make it more stereo, less. You can sidechain it. You can EQ it, and all that shit, and then just give it a place in the whole mix.
Cool.
Yep.
So that's a good tip, Jay Hardway.
Good tip. Good
I
tip.
learned from the best. And
Thanks
on that side,
everyone.
for me, you are.
Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for being part of the
You're
Discord and
way
the
over there.
community. Thanks for the donations to the from the music channel, from Mr. Melodramatic,
Or
from
do I do it like this, Joppe?
Jamie Strive. Thanks for the donation, everyone. We really appreciate it. And we will be back next week with another fresh episode. Have a great one,
Oh no, we have
everybody.
to do it like this, Ralph. Like on the bottom.
Oh.
Because on YouTube it sees like this.
Bye bye, everyone.